It's easy to forget where we came from, isn't it? As we progress through this hobby, it's sometimes easy to lose sight of how hard it was to start out in the first instance. Things that we take for granted aren't always simple for people new to the hobby. With that in mind, this time I thought I'd look at base coating. See you after this. Hi guys, and welcome back to another Forge of Solace Paints. What I'm going to do this time is another entry into my basics series, and this time I'm going to look at base coating. How to get a nice, even, flat base coat so that you can build on top of it with whatever further techniques that you want to use. Okay, there's not much else to be said about that. Let's get to the painting desk and have a look at what we're going to do. Hi guys, welcome back and thanks for joining me for another one of these basics tutorials. Right, the first thing we're going to do is thin as paint, nice and thin for this technique. I'm using Citadel's Rakarth Flesh here to base this, and what you'll notice is I'm putting down a very thin coat onto the area that I want to base coat. In this case, it's the banner underneath the Dark Angel sigil. So what we're doing is we're pulling the paint in just one direction. If you take anything away from this, that is the takeaway. On to the next coat. Once the first coat's dry, same thing again. Move in one direction with the brush. Don't go back. Just hit all of the parts with the colour. Move away, regardless of whether it looks patchy or not. And you're done. Just let it dry, work on another area. Don't constantly scrub backwards and forwards. Okay, third coat. This is where we're doing it. Same thing again, a little bit more caretaking this time, just making sure we get everything. All in one direction again, as much as possible. That's where the smoothness comes from. Moving the brush backwards and forwards tears the paint, gives you a rough finish, your foundation's ruined, you're not going to end up with anything good on the top of that. I know it's a little bit time consuming, I know we're doing this in a number of layers, you don't have to go quite as thin as I have, totally down to preference. Thinner is going to obscure less detail, and here we are, the last of 4 thin layers, working pretty fast now, getting used to it, using a nice brush, well loaded, paint's lovely and thin, getting to a good level of opacity on there, working all in the same direction. Pretty much no time, the job's done. The layers are so thin, they dry really fast. By the time you've got to the end of the model and you're coming around for another pass, you're done. And that's the crux of this really, guys. That's all there is to it. So takeaways, thin layers, always move in one direction. Don't go back over an area repeatedly until the paint's completely dry. And there we are. Decent solid base coat ready to work on top of. Good level of opacity. No texture on there. What more could you want? Okay, I'll leave you with some music and another example of what it is I've done with this. As you can see, still moving in one direction. I can't drive that home enough. And there you go, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know how you got on with this down in the comments. If there's anything else you'd like to see me cover, do give me a shout. Let me know. I'm more than happy to put something together if you think it's something that would be useful to you. Have a good week. So there we are guys, we're done with another one. What did you think of that? Obvious or not quite so obvious? There's so many ways that you can do something like this. This is certainly not the only one. I prefer to work in a number of thin layers, but there are a number of different methods, including using something like Citadel's contrast paints. You still need a good foundation, good opacity to work on top of, but that's another method that you can use. There's many different ways that you can do something like this. This is just one of them. Let me know what you prefer to do down in the comments below. If you've not already, please do leave me a comment, like and subscribe. If you didn't know, I co-host a podcast every 2 weeks called The Drop Pod. You can find out more about that over at thedroppod.info. That's it for another one guys. So all that's left to be said is, you guessed it, if you're going to do crack, make sure it's plastic. See ya!
Sorry, I'm having trouble understanding right now. Please try.
Alexa, shut up!